Hello everybody. Welcome to Short Shot Archery. Anthony here. And in this video, I kind of want to share with you what I found weighing my Easton pins and Easton pin Nocks. This was definitely not a video that I had planned on actually making, but I figured I would share with you what I found. So I've been weighing the pins and the Nocks on my little travel size scale here. It's fairly accurate for the job. I have a much fancier scale and much more accurate scale that I weigh all of my short shot archery tungsten points on. If you're curious, it is not on this little scale. But I was just weighing these two different items just for my own curiosity. And after I got through basically a dozen of each, I realized they don't really match up with what is advertised necessarily. Granted, if you put the two products together, then they do kind of weigh what they would weigh. So, let me clarify. Easton pins. Easton pins are supposed to weigh approximately 8 grains. So far I've weighed a dozen brand new pins. I store them in here. They're not stored in the package, but they are brand new. I keep them as replacements when I hit arrows. I have weighed those, and out of all of them, we range from 7.54 grains all the way up to 7.6 grains. They're supposed to be 8 grains. So I was like, all right, interesting. Let's go and break out my Easton pin Nocks and see if there's a difference there. Now, I personally shoot large groove Easton pin Nocks, and I then weighed a dozen of them, all brand new. And what I got for them is, well, the numbers might actually, they may be not quite as tight as the pins, but they range from roughly 2.62 grains all the way up to 2.68 grains. So they're roughly 0.6 and some change heavier than the 2 grains that they're kind of advertised to be. Now, if we add 8 grains and 2 grains together, we get 10. And conveniently, if we go and weigh these two, when it sets up, if we weigh them, we come to about 10.2 grains for both. So they do kind of I guess cancel each other out. The pins are way lighter than they're supposed to be, and the pin Nocks are kind of way heavier than they're supposed to be, more so than the pins are. So that is interesting. I can weigh more to see if it's just this particular dozen or not, and I'll probably do that and then share that with you. But I'm also going to be breaking out my calipers here, and we'll see if there really is like a size and thickness difference in the pins, because this is a pretty solid thing. I could try to measure the Nocks, but it's kind of a pain because they're not as uniform as the pins. So we'll see if there's really a wide variation in the size. But I don't know. I'm just kind of curious on why they would be off so much. Like if they're keeping their tolerances, between 0.56 and 0.60 for the pins, where's the extra, 0.4 grains worth of weight? And if it's accounted in for you using an Easton pin Nock, then why don't they just sell them saying they're, 7.5 grains instead of 8 grains? And then the Easton pin Nocks should just be listed as 2.5 grains. Now, you may also be thinking, well, you're using large groove Easton pin Nocks, because this is a large groove. Well, wrong color, but I do have some small groove Easton Nocks that are literally brand new in the bag. Just opened it. older Nocks because I think they actually changed the color. But if I weigh those, they're still coming in at 2.44 for a knock. And that's still 0.44 higher than what it's supposed to be. And I know some people are going to be like, wow, you're really picky about this. Like, why do we need to know about this? I just happened to stumble into this, and I just thought that the tolerances would be a little bit closer in terms, the weight tolerances would be closer. Yes, the weight per dozen is close, but they're not close compared to the advertised weight. So they're plus or minus zero point 0.5 grains basically in either direction. So let's go weigh some more, and then I'll break out the calipers and measure and see what happens. I don't know. All right, so just got done weighing a dozen more of each. Technically, I already had one done for the pins, so I only weighed 11 more. But with that, basically the same numbers. I did make a mistake on one where I wrote 2.7. It's technically when right before I took it off, I went to 2.68. The pin knocks were still between 2.6 and 2.68. And again, the Easton pins were still between 7.56 actually on the one and 7.64 it looks like was the heaviest, which is also the heaviest pin out of the 2 dozen so far. So intriguing. Now I'm kind of curious to see how their size compares. So if I put it in my calipers, all right, we're at 22.09 millimeters. For the length, and the width's kind of tough because it's got that little collar there on the pin itself, so that it stops when you're putting it into your arrow, and they're all at a consistent distance. But I got 3.21, and I guess we'll see how the other ones compare. All right, and we got done measuring. Oh, turns out it was only 11. Okay. Anyway, though, the numbers are real tight. The tolerances are pretty good. For the length, as high as 22.12, so pretty spot on. In terms of the width, actually, the width is pretty impressive, but it kind of needs to be. 3.21 to 3.22, all that's in millimeters. In inches, we have the diameter being 0.1265 inches, and the length sits somewhere around 0.8690 inches. So not too bad on that. I'm guessing most of it just has to do with maybe the consistency in the density of the material. Like, it's not the biggest deal, but it is interesting. Personally, I would have thought the weight tolerances would, one, be closer to 8 grains for the pins and 2 grains for the Nocks, and then just be like plus or minus, 0.1 maybe or less. To see them plus or minus, like 0.5 is a lot more than I was expecting. But it definitely has to, I guess it has to do with the material, though, because I feel like you'd have to have a bigger range in the lengths and the widths of the pins being off to make up for the 0.4 or so, 0.5 weight difference in the Easton pins. I don't know. This is kind of a random video, and it was just kind of my curiosity, but maybe other people were curious as well. Let me know what you think down in the comments. So that kind of wraps up this video. This is really something that I was just doing in my spare time from my own curiosity because I shoot Easton X10s. So I was kind of curious on, well, how accurate are their pins and their pin knocks? Because, well, I used to shoot their points and they're not the most consistent. That's why Short Shot Archery offers our own point, our own tungsten point for Easton X10s. You can see them on the Short Shot Archery website. And I just wanted to see, where their pins kind of stood in this. Their pins are more accurate than some of the points I've weighed. But it's still interesting to see the fluctuation in it. I don't know if this leads to anything or not, but it'll be interesting to see if this changes 6 months or a year down the road when I get through shooting and breaking all like 3 dozen pins and knocks I have here. We'll see if a different batch changes a lot. So, thank you for watching. If this was boring, well, you clicked on it. Other than that, really appreciate it. If you have any other ideas regarding these or things that maybe I screwed up on, let me know. I'll be interested in reading them, and I may take some of them into consideration. Other than that, hope you have an excellent day, and as always, happy shooting.